turn on the lights and keep a stuffed animal handy, because these movies will chill you to the bone. Welcome to Shouldn't Watch Alone. For this list, we'll be exploring movies that are just so scary, terrifying, disturbing, or unsettling that you really shouldn't be watching them on your own. We'll be including picks from our previous lists on the topic, while also not forgetting some more recent films that really It.
Is that your favorite?
Uh-huh.
Mine too!
Based on the iconic 1986 Stephen King novel, this lively horror flick is without a doubt one of the best films of the modern era, but also one of the scariest. The horrifying attack on poor little Georgie in the opening scene truly sets the tone for 2 hours of relentless clown jump scares and bone-chilling imagery and sound effects. As our ragtag group of friends seek justice for Bill's little brother in the cursed town of Derry, Maine, it becomes clear that they weren't ready for the ancient cosmic shapeshifter that is Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Much like the Losers Club, you'll want plenty of friends around to hold you close for the duration of It.
Welcome to the Losers Club.
The Ring.
7 days.
4 words: Samara and the Television. This remake of a 1998 Japanese film left an imprint on all who watched, as the very premise highlighted the horror that comes from watching a mysterious video of Red Rum. Naomi Watts stars as a protective mother who attempts to break the cycle of death by solving a murder case, and thus saving everybody from lonely VHS deaths. The Ring was the first of several Japanese adaptations in modern times, and responsible for inspiring lonely moviegoers to call their best friends and whisper 7 days into the phone, thus ruining their Friday night plans. Who watches The Ring alone? Don't do that, Mojoholics. Just don't. It Follows. This film may have you rethinking your last one-night stand. When her date doesn't go as planned, the protagonist Jay is told she has inherited a curse via sexual intercourse, and will be followed by an entity that only she can see until she's able to pass on the curse. Not scary enough for you yet? Well, the entity can also shapeshift into Jay's friends and make surprise attacks whenever it pleases. It Follows brought in audiences with its unique premise and blew them away with tooth-rattling scares, grotesque deformed villains, and a stunning score. Watch this one alone, and your next date will never be the same. 6. The Grudge. Based on the 2002 Japanese film, Ju-on, this Sam Raimi-produced flick reminded everybody that a horrific death filled with rage or sorrow does not signify the end. With a non-linear plot, The Grudge chronicles numerous stories of turbulent deaths and the cycle of horror that ensues. Sarah Michelle Gellar stars as an American exchange student who comes face to face with the seemingly unfaithful departed. The concept of The Grudge is inherently shocking, but the visuals are simply on another level. Watch this movie alone and you will regret it, because you'll accidentally claw up your own couch. The BabaDook.
His name is Mr. BabaDook, and this is his book.
Have you ever heard the story of the BabaDook? Well, neither had this troubled single mother, and upon reading the cursed book to her son, she unleashed its hellish torment on both their lives. The son's overactive imagination leads the mother to initially disbelieve the BabaDook exists. However, she believes its incessant stalking causes the family to experience increasing psychological trauma. One cannot escape the BabaDook once a person becomes aware of his existence.
I said
The BabaDook isn't real, Samuel. It's just something you've made up in your stupid little head.
I just didn't want you to let it in!
The film gets its notoriety from the lack of conventional jump scares and the masterful employment of raw horror elements. Exactly the kind of movie you should watch in a big group, with the lights on and the basement door locked. Raw. Some horror films require group viewings to mediate the jump scares and terrifying scenery. Others, like the French film Raw, gross you out so much that the experience of watching it must be shared. When the young vegetarian Justine begins her first semester at veterinary school, she's forced to eat rabbit kidneys, which jumpstarts an insatiable craving for human flesh. The urge appears to run in the family, with Justine and her sister Alexia soon feasting on strangers, fellow students, and eventually, each other. The film's stark contrast between sexual curiosity, arousal, and straight-up cannibalism make for quite the uncomfortable blend. Any takers? Paranormal Activity. This found footage flick made audiences wet their pants and blame loved ones for spilling soda in the theater. When Katie and Mika move into a San Diego pad, a collection of odd events inspire them to set up cameras. What happens? Well, Katie stares at her sleeping husband for 2 hours and later gets hurled out of the room. To make matters worse, the ghosts get all kinky and start biting poor Katie. What happens next will shock you. And it does. The Exorcist. It's the ultimate horror film that has it all. Accomplished director? Yes. Legendary actor? Yes. Absolutely terrifying imagery? Does a spinning demon-possessed head qualify?
Damien!
Amen.
With a historical backstory of religion and archaeology, it wasn't difficult to embrace the story of an aging priest out to defeat an old supernatural enemy. The Exorcist wasn't just unbelievably scary, it was also nominated for 10 Academy Awards, thus proving the power of efficient filmmaking. It's truly an event to watch The Exorcist, especially with those who are easily scared.
Did you do that?
Drag Me to Hell. This movie reminds us to always be mindful of the ones we do wrong. Christine's picture-perfect life is disrupted by a desperate elderly lady who needs an extension on her home loan. When Christine denies her in hopes of impressing her boss, the old woman hexes her with a curse that will torment her mercilessly before damning her to an eternity in hell. Shame. Spending the next 3 days of her life dealing with evil spirits and trying to ward off the curse for good, she faces such terrifying demonic depictions in the mortal world, we shudder to think what awaits her on the other side. The Conjuring. You know that you probably picked the wrong home to move into when your dog mysteriously dies during your first few days, and spirits begin to express a desire to, end you. Such was the case in The Conjuring, where Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga star as real-life ghost investigators, attempting to stop a doll from committing bloody murder. You know the drill: exorcisms, horrible screams, slow insanity. But James Wan's film offered much more than the usual genre shenanigans. It made people paranoid and afraid of being slaughtered by a smiley yet torn-up doll named Annabelle.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe our channel and support us. Please like, share and comment and click the notification bell for future update and check out our other videos.